Hello and welcome to another Bean Report YouTube edition. We have quite a lot of sports to talk about on the schedule for today. We knew last point that regardless of how far the PWHL Championship went, it was going to be done by today. And that was correct. It was actually done by later last week after making last week's video. So without much of a delay, we can just get right into this game and see how the ending of this Walter Cup Championship unfolded for Montreal and Ottawa. So yeah, let's get right into that highlight. Face off here in Ottawa as Montreal's one win away from their first PWHL championship in their franchise's history. Getting things going earlier, Montreal on the attack, looking to get an early score, but Gwyneth Phillips is going to block that one, and defense is going to come in and get that puck away. Off a face-off, though, Ottawa's working this time. Catherine Riley's going to get the puck, and then she's going to let a shot go, but Andre Desbiens with the save there. Into the second period, we now go. Score tied up at 0 apiece. Ottawa, they're going to be on the attack here, looking to push the pace, trying to get something going. Shot's going to get on net, but crash in front of the net. Saved, though, by Desbiens. Nothing going through. 4 minutes in, Poulin, she's going to drop it off to Abby Rogue, who's going to get around, and that puck's going to find its way into the net. It splits the legs of Gwyneth Phillips and finds its way into the back of net. Montreal, you see score one more time here. It slips through. Phillips too late to get her leg down and block that puck. Montreal with the 1-0 lead. Ottawa now trying to respond here, tie up this score here where they tied up late, and the slap shot. Desbiens eats that one up, blocks that one. Into the third period again, Montreal holding that 1-0 lead currently. Puck finds its way in by the net, and that puck, again, going to bounce around. Desbien's not letting anything through. She's going to trap that one. Will be a face-off there in Montreal territory. But now, halfway through the third period, Abby Rogue, she's going to have a clear path to net, and she's going to get in and around and puts it into the back of the net. Clean moves by Abby Rogue for her second score of the day. You see here, she gets past the defender and just goes left and into the right backhand. Puts that one in one more time here. Moving, she goes right, she goes left, and backhands that one right into the back of net. Beautiful goal here. Montreal now up 2 here in the finals. 6 minutes to go here. Maggie Flair is going to rip a shot, and it's going to flop its way in. And it wasn't flying like a usual puck does, but that little bit of distraction finds its way to get into the back of the net here. Flaherty knocking in the third goal of the game for Montreal. But now with 4 minutes left, looking just for some clearance time, but Lena Lundblom gets it, and she puts it into the back of the net. Montreal's 4th goal of the game. Lundblom gets a playoff goal here, where you see Ottawa couldn't clear it away, and Lundblom comes and cleans that up. Time's going to expire here on Ottawa, as they just couldn't get anything going. Perfect game for that woman right there on Renee Desbiens. Perfect shutout in the final game of the season, clinching the championship for the Montreal Victoire. We see as they celebrate here together their first championship in franchise history. So as you can see there, Montreal, first championship in franchise history. They're your 2026 PWHL champions. Abby Rogue, she had 2 of those goals. She had the first 2 goals, actually her 3rd and 4th of the playoffs. Maggie Flaherty scored her 3rd playoff goal, scoring the 3rd goal of the game. And Lena Lundblom scored that last final goal, giving Montreal their 4th and final goal of the night. Of course, Andre Desbiens, a perfect day for her. 23 shots on goal, 23 saves, letting nothing get past, shutting out the Ottawa Charge en route to Montreal's first ever victory. And it's just an incredible season for Montreal, just making it past Minnesota in the first round. Of course, they were the first seed coming into these playoffs, and then in 4 games, pretty handedly beating the Ottawa Charge here in the Walter Cup Championship. So incredible season. Congratulations to the Montreal Victoire. And then we will pick up covering these games again once the season starts back up again. Until then, we do have some other news to get to, because obviously we have the relocation teams joining in Detroit, San Jose, Hamilton, and Las Vegas. So once we know news about those, the expansion draft, we will cover that. But until then, our game coverage is no more, because we have our champions in Montreal. But what we do have right now we have award finalists. So the 3 finalists have been announced for both Rookie of the Year and MVP. The 3 Rookie of the Year finalists First, Nicole Gosling of the Victoire. She finished the season with 19 points. That was tied for second among all rookies. She added on 3 goals as well on the season, but her 16 assists were second among all rookies. Casey O'Brien of the New York Sirens up next. She finished the year with 22 points. That was most among all rookies. Her 7 goals were second among all rookies, and her 15 assists were tied for third among all rookies. And then Haley Wynn was the last of the 3 finalists for Rookie of the Year. She finished with 19 points, tied with Nicole Gosling for second in the league. Her 5 goals were tied third among all rookies, and her 14 assists were tied for fourth among all rookies. So these are your 3 finalists for the Rookie of the Year: Nicole Gosling, Casey O'Brien, and Haley Wynn. And then as we go towards MVP, our 3 finalists are Renee Desbiens. Of course, we saw her finish the championship with a perfect shutout, but she had 25 games played, only 28 goals allowed, 1.11 per game. That led the league. A .955 save percentage that also led the league, and she had a 19-4-2 record, which again led the league. Erin Frankel, 26 games for her. She was the goalie of the Boston Fleet. 26 games played for her and 31 goals, a 1.17 average per game, a .953 save percentage, and a 19-4-1 record. So as really not much of a difference between Desbiens and Frankel, 2 of the game's best goalies. And I mean, it's hard to pick who to choose between these 2. But on the other end, you have Kelly Panic, who finished with 33 points, led the league, 16 goals led the league, and her 17 assists were tied for second in the league. And so she was pretty much the league's top scorer. I mean, she was the league's top scorer, but it's just in pretty much assists and goals, she was ranking up there. So you have the league's best scorer, along with 2 of the league's best goalies as the 3 finalists for the MVP here in the PWHL. But right now, as we move towards basketball, we have some more coverage for you. Of course, we have historic Eastern Conference Finals news. And since we've been last time it was the Knicks coming back from their ridiculous 22-point deficit. Now this time the Knicks are on the brink of moving on to their first NBA Finals in almost 2 decades, almost 2.5 decades. And all that was standing was 1 victory to go in Cleveland, and let's see what happened. Were the Knicks able to prevail and move on to their first finals, or do we still have to postpone that, wait for another game? But anyway, let's jump right into that game. Knicks on the verge of their first NBA Finals in 28 years. They're going to lose the tip-off here, but looking to sweep the Cleveland Cavaliers for their second straight playoff sweep. Jared Allen's going to find Evan Mobley here early, who's going to put it up over Towns and put it in for Cleveland's first basket of the game. Brunson's going to be working. He's going to find Mikal Bridges, who gets a tough 2-pointer to go for the Knicks' first points of the game here. Brunson driving again. This time he's going to kick out and find Josh Hart, who connects on the 3-pointer. Donovan Mitchell's going to drive past and just get a nice floater, but kick out. Evan Mobley connects from downtown here. Knicks slim lead here. Towns, he's going to kick it up the court to Jalen Brunson, who's streaking. Almost throws it down, but still tosses that ball in there for the lead. Knicks up 6 here with 3 minutes to go in the first. James Harden working on Miles McBride, working on Deuce, and Harden connects from deep. Knicks up 6 now. Brunson, he's just going to walk into a 3-pointer and connect on that one. Into the second quarter we go. Knicks holding a lead here over the Cavs. McBride, Deuce has got it. He's working on it. He's going to pull it from 3, and he's going to connect on that one. Everyone's hitting for the Knicks, including Landry Shamet, who connects on the corner 3. Towns now, he's going to kick, find Anunoby, who gets rejected by Jared Allen. He gets pinned on the back of the net. Cavs working up. Donovan Mitchell's going to walk into a 3-pointer, and he's going to connect on it. Knicks up big, though, here in the second quarter. Brunson, he's going to find it in the corner, dribble in, kick it around, throws up on that little sky hook there and connects on that one. Bridges, shot clock's expiring. Can he pass it out? He's going to have to be forced to shoot it, and he one-legged fadeaway connects on that one. Into the third quarter after half, Knicks big lead here over the Cavs, currently a 19-point lead here. But Jared Allen, 2-handed slam, is going to try and prevent that to a degree. Struce's layup attempt is denied by Karl-Anthony Towns. Gets Jalen Brunson. He's going to push up the court, looking to turn defense into offense. OG in the corner, but he's going to kick out and find Towns. gets a block on one end and connects from deep on the other end. OG Brunson back to OG, who throws down the alley-oop. Knicks extending their lead here in the third. Josh Hart, he's going to find Bridges, who finds Brunson, who's going to miss, but OG's there for the cleanup there, that two-handed putback slam. McBride, Shamit, not going to shoot it this time. He's going to pull up and throw down the two-handed slam. Everyone's scoring here for the Knicks. Minute and a half to go. Mobley's going to throw down that two-handed alley-oop. But Knicks up 27 points here as they enter the fourth quarter. On the verge of another dominant clinching performance here. Towns, tough layup there as he falls over. Knicks up 29. But Mitchell just trying to keep things in conversation here, but not going to be enough as OG throws down the slam with 8 minutes to go. Bench players come in for the Knicks. Starters are out of the game as they're going to roll into a 37-point victory here over the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Knicks sweep the Cavs. We see the Knicks now going to celebrate as they're awarded the Eastern Conference Championship trophy there by two Knicks legends, Clyde Frazier and Patrick Ewing. Knicks, of course, celebrating with their trophy. And the Eastern Conference Finals MVP award would be given to none other than Jalen Brunson, as he, again, given his award by Frazier and Ewing here, two Knicks legends, as the Knicks back in the NBA Finals, celebrating this one here before we know who they're going to play. So there you have it, New York Knicks sweeping the Cleveland Cavaliers 130-93, a 37-point victory for the New York Knicks here in the Eastern Conference Finals. And that does it. A 4-0 sweep. Knicks have not lost in over a month now at this point. They won their final two games against the Hawks and now swept their second and third round opponents here in the playoffs. But 138, high scoring game. But as you can tell, Karl-Anthony Towns was the leading scorer with 19 points. He was 8 of 11 from the field, 14 boards, 3 assists, 3 threes, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. And then OG, he had 17 points on 6 of 13 shooting. He was the second highest scorer. 7 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a 3 of his own. But as you can tell, just not one dominant player scoring 30-plus points every night. They do have players that can do that in the form of Karl-Anthony Towns. I mean, OG can do it, and, of course, Jalen Brunson. But all these starters have been averaging 10 points per game here in this playoff run. But for the Cavs, Donovan Mitchell scored 31 points on 9 of 18 shooting, 5 threes, 4 boards, an assist, and a steal. Evan Mobley was the second leading scorer on the Cavs with 15 points. He had 7 boards, 4 assists, a block, and a 3. But the Cavs just not going to be moving on here in the playoffs. They did announce that they have plans on signing James Harden to a longer-term deal, and they're going to be keeping head coach Kenny Atkinson, so no turnover in that department. But for the Knicks, moving on to their first NBA final since the 1998-1999 season, Jalen Brunson, he was announced the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, averaged 25.5 points per game, almost 8 assists, 3.3 rebounds, and a steal a game. So just Jalen Brunson can be that guy that can take over, but he can also sit back and dish out some passes over the course of the night and let the rest of the team really kind of take the charge. Knicks have just been extremely dominant over this playoff run. 12-2 record over their 14 games played so far. They're scoring 119.9, so almost 120 points per night, outscoring opponents by 20 points, allowing opponents only 100.6 points per night. Just lights out from the field, 51.5% from the field, and a 40% three-point percentage is just incredible here for this playoff run. They have a plus 271 point differential in this playoffs. That is the most ever by any team through their conference finals. 271 points they're beating opponents by. They have now 10 consecutive wins here, and they have, in 3 consecutive rounds, closed out games with 3 consecutive 30-point victories. Of course, they beat the Cavs tonight by 37 points, but they also beat the Hawks in their closeout series game by 51 points. They beat the Sixers by 30 points, so they're just beating everybody. They're lights out right now. Knicks, again, advancing to their first NBA Finals it feels like so long. They haven't won since, of course, the 70s, but they haven't made one since 1998. 28 years ago, which is just incredible for the city of New York to finally experience this again. But we now go to who are the Knicks going to play. Last we left off here, The Spurs and Thunder were tied up at 2 apiece. Game 5, heading back to Oklahoma City. And who are the next going to play in the NBA Finals? Let's see who got a 3-2 series advantage here in this series between these two Western Conference juggernauts. Let's jump right into these highlights. Western Conference Finals, both these teams tied up at 2 apiece into Game 5 here in Oklahoma City. Spurs going to win this tip-off here. But Lou Dort shooting the corner 3, he's going to miss. Chet Holmgren's going to gather that rebound, though, and he's going to put up that fadeaway for the first bucket of the game for the Thunder. For the Spurs, Stephon Castle's going to fake out Isaiah Hartenstein and put up that 3-pointer there for their first points of the game. Halfway through the first, and Stephon Castle with great defense saving that ball there. Victor Wembanyama was going to push that ball up the court, find De'Aaron Fox, who Julian Champagnie connects for the bucket there, turning that great save by Castle into some offense. Keldon Johnson's going to, you see Wemby put that arm up, and you know it's time to just put that towards the rim as he throws down the alley-oop. Carter Bryant in the corner off a De'Aaron Fox pass, and he connects from downtown. Spurs with the lead. Very late going in to the second quarter. SGA is going to kick out and find Caruso, but back to SGA. Shot clock expiring. He connects on that last-minute throw-up 3 in the second quarter. Close game here between these two teams, but first scoring here halfway through. Keldon Johnson just bodying Chet Holmgren and throwing down that big two-handed slam there. Other end, SGA just in his mid-range area, connecting like he always does. Spurs down 8. SGA, he's going to drive here. Finds Alex Caruso, who throws up that 3 and connects with that one. 11-point lead here for the Thunder. SGA connects, makes it a 13-point lead as the second quarter expires. But time not too done yet. Wemby, arm up. Fox finds him, he puts it in right there. 12-point lead for the Thunder as we head into the second half. More of the same here. Jared McCain, he's just going to throw up a little circus shot, and he connects on the and one. Crazy shot there for McCain. 8-point lead here. SGA is going to extend that lead back to double digits with a nice sideline 3. Caruso throws it up. Chet doesn't throw down the alley-oop, but gets it in over Victor Wembanyama. Those two, of course, with their little rivalry. Devin Vassell connects on the and one from downtown. Spurs looking to make it a 11-point lead, but now we go into the fourth quarter. Caruso going up the court. He's going to find Hartenstein, who's just going to connect there with the big two-handed slam. 15-point lead here. 10-point lead now. Fox connects from the paint, gets it to a single-digit lead, but Jared McCain catches from that downtown spot with 6 minutes left, building that lead now. 11 points. SGA going to find Caruso in the corner, make it a 15-point lead. 3 minutes to go, but Stephon Castle, 3-pointer, trying to cut back into that lead. Spurs just looking to get something going. SGA, just anything the Spurs have, the Thunder just answering right back. They just take over the last 2 minutes. Thunder win this one here, 127-114. They hold advantage going into Game 6. Of course, SGA with a great game. Victor Wembanyama, not his usual performance, but Thunder winning this one nonetheless. So final in Game 5 here, Oklahoma City wins by a score of 127-114. They take the series lead in this series by a score of 3-2. They win one more game. They advance the NBA Finals for the second consecutive year, looking to be back-to-back champions. They would face the New York Knicks, but still have time with the San Antonio Spurs. SGA Shai Gilgeous-Alexander led the way for the Thunder with 32 points on 7 of 19 shooting, had 9 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 threes, and 2 steals. Alex Caruso, 22 points of his own on 5 of 10 shooting, 6 assists, 4 threes, 3 steals, and 2 rebounds. For the Spurs, no Victor Wembanyama at the top of the stat board today. Stephon Castle with 24 points of his own on 7 of 11 shooting, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals, and 3 threes. And then Julian Champagnie, he had 22 points and 8 of 15 shooting, 8 rebounds, 4 threes, 3 steals, and 1 assist. So the rest of the series at the moment, only one game that will be necessarily played, and that will be tomorrow on Thursday in San Antonio. They host Game 6. If San Antonio wins at home and they tie it up, of course, then we go to Game 7. That would take place Saturday, Game 7 in Oklahoma City. So, still don't know yet. Still won't know until tomorrow, maybe even Saturday, who the Knicks are going to play. But Oklahoma City Thunder hold a 3-2 series lead over the San Antonio Spurs. And again, we could know as soon as tomorrow who the finals opponents are going to be. But we now look over to baseball. We're going to do what we've been covering the last couple of weeks, just looking at the standings and see some teams who are trending in either direction. So still leading the American League and still leading the American League East. Tampa Bay Rays are 34-18, ahead of the New York Yankees, who are 33-22. So both these teams pretty much leading the American League, but the Yankees behind the Rays. They're 2.5 games back. The Blue Jays, they're 26-29, Orioles 25-30, and the Red Sox 22-31, rounding out the American League East. The American League Central, the Cleveland Guardians have pulled away. We'll talk about them shortly. The White Sox still sitting in second, but 500 at 27-27. Twins 27-28, and then it's just the Royals and the Tigers down at the bottom of the Central. Tigers just not looking good, especially now. They've been without Derek School the last couple of weeks, but just really not playing like the team that many thought they'd be this year at 21-34. Into the West, no one's above 500. 27-28. Athletics, Mariners are 27-29, just a half game back. Rangers are 25-29, and then the Astros and the Angels rounding out the division, both 24-32, 21-34. Into the National League, the Atlanta Braves still atop the East and still atop the league as a whole, 37-18, best record in the MLB. The Nationals are 29-27 on a little bit of a win streak out of the last couple of games. And then ever since we said the Phillies were hot, they've lost a couple consecutive. They're 28-27 now. And the Marlins and the Mets rounding out the National League East. In the Central, a collapse by the Chicago Cubs. We'll talk about that in a second, but they're now at the bottom of the National League Central. It's the Brewers at the top, 32-20. Cardinals are 29-24, currently holding on to the last wild card spot. Right out of wild card contention, the Cincinnati Reds are 29-25. Again, right out of wild card contention right now is still both the Pirates and the Cubs, but both those teams tied with 29 and a 26 record. And then to the West, the Dodgers leading there, 35-20. And it's the Padres, 31-23. Arizona Diamondbacks have been winning 9 of their last 10 games now, as they now hold on to the last wild card spot. And it's the Giants and the Rockies rounding out those two, 20-2 and 33 and 20-36. But the two teams we're going to look at that have been doing well over their last couple of games. First, heating up over here is the Cleveland Guardians. Over the last 15 games, they have an 11-4 record. What's really standing out about this team here is their 2.93 ERA. They're allowing just under 10, they're striking out just under 10 batters per game and allowing 3.2 runs per game. The offense isn't performing extremely amazing either. A 225 average, only getting on base just above 30% and scoring 4.3 runs per game. But it's just more timely hitting by the Guardians here. The two timely hitters so far over the last 15 games have been Brian Rocchio and Travis Bazzana, the infield combination, their shortstop and their second baseman. Over his last 15, Rocchio has been hitting .422, getting on base almost at half the time at .491, and slugging .600. He's got 19 hits, a home run, 5 of those extra base hits, 8 RBIs, and 5 walks, and OPS over 1,000. And then Bazzana, the second baseman, hitting .357, getting on base 41% of the time, .536 slugging. He's got 20 hits, 2 home runs, 6 of those extra base hits, 7 RBIs, and 5 walks. So this double play combo doing great here between Bazzana and Rocchio. And a team that hasn't been doing so well, and that's an understatement, they've been doing terrible over their last 16 games, is the Chicago Cubs. Started off the season, the first 39 games, 27-12. They were hitting great. They were .258, scoring 5 runs a game, allowing 4, but with an ERA of .375. Just overall, everything was going well for them. But over the last 16, they are 2-14. They're hitting .180 as a team, only scoring 2.5 runs per game. They're allowing 5.5 runs per game with an ERA now above at 5.44. They're not hitting in the slightest. In a combination of they're just allowing more runs than they have been, but not enough to keep them out of games. It's just their offense just cannot get anything going. So those are our two teams that we're going to look at in more detail again. It's just the Cubs just such a downturn over these last couple of games. And the Guardians heating up. We also could have chosen the Arizona Diamondbacks, another team that has just been doing extremely well as of late, and they at this point have not clinched, but they have put themselves in the wild card race. But anyway, that's enough of me yapping about sports for the day. Thank you all for listening, and I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you.